We want to head back to Dulles. That's where we find Fox 5's Melanie Alwick. She is setting up her live shot now with Congressman Glenn Ivey, who just returned from El Salvador with a failed attempt to meet with Kilmar Abrego-García. We want to hear what he has to say.
All right, let's get out to Mel now at Dulles.
All right, so we are live now on Fox 5, and I know that you're here, the rest of the media here as well. So tell us some frustration for your trip.
Oh, absolutely. I was very, not just disappointed, but angry, actually. I mean, we'd contacted the embassy to El Salvador. In fact, I met with them last week for about an hour. So they certainly knew that we were coming and why. And then our embassy in El Salvador had contacted the government as well to try and set this up, as well as potential meetings with members of the government. So they knew we were coming, and they knew why we were coming. And then when we actually got to the jail, they said something about going to get a permit, going all the way. Santa Ana is a long way, about an hour-and-a-half drive from San Salvador. They said, go back to San Salvador and get a permit. And I won't tell you what I said, but I mean, it's, you know, ridiculous that an international delegation would get that kind of treatment, especially when we're making this kind of a request.
Yeah, so it's been, what, 5 weeks now since Senator Van Hollen was there. Any status update on Abrego-García? Do we know if he's still in the jail where you went to? Do we know if he's still alive and well? Nothing's been confirmed
along those lines. We believe he is, and we believe he's at Santa Ana, but they didn't even confirm that yesterday. So it was, you know, kind of a runaround. It's a, you know, stonewall effort, I guess, on the part of the government of El Salvador. But at the end of the day, he's part of what the courts are ordering to have happen, which is he needs to be brought back so he can have his day in court. There's 250 Venezuelans who've been jailed down there as well, who were deported from the United States. Apparently there are reports that about 50 of them have no criminal records. They were in the United States legally, but they were deported to a country where they have no criminal offenses pending, or in Venezuela. So in the United States, Venezuela, and El Salvador, they don't have any criminal offenses pending at all. Yet they're being held in a jail for an indefinite period of time. That's un-American. That's not what we should be doing.
And talk about that, how it's not just about Kilmar Abrego-García, but it is those 50, at least 50 men you mentioned, who have that legal status in the U.S. who are denied that due process.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, we've got people that the Trump administration is now sending to jails apparently all over the world. There's another group that was just sent to South Sudan. I haven't even had a chance to start looking into that one. But, I mean, this isn't the way we should be doing this. The deportations, I get the point, you know, we want to make sure that people who aren't supposed to be here are sent back to where they should go. But that's a little bit different than sending them to some of the toughest jails in the Western Hemisphere for indefinite detention with no criminal charges pending. And the Venezuelan group, the 50 that were deported, were actually here on legal status. So deporting people who have their paperwork in order is just wrong.
Yeah, do we have any idea? Did you get any more insight as far as what the contract involves between the United States and El Salvador? And what is the end game? I mean, how long are these people going to be held? Do they ever get out? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, we still haven't gotten we being Congress, to the best of my knowledge, still haven't gotten a copy of the contract. So we don't know the terms, we don't know the conditions, we don't know how much the United States is paying to have these people detained in jails overseas, or how these jail sites are being selected. And Congress controls the purse. We've got the power of the purse under the Constitution. We have an absolute, not just a right, but an obligation to make sure that the American taxpayer dollars are being spent in the right way. And we can't do that until we get the information.
You mentioned that it was stonewalling by the El Salvador government. Do you have any idea, any thought that anybody in the U.S. contributed to you not being able to visit yesterday?
I don't know, but I'll say this. The Republican leadership in Congress, when they have Republican-led delegations, they call them CODELs, they get the status, they get the green light to go to these places. So you've had Republicans who've been able to get inside these jails in El Salvador, for example. But for the minority Democrats, we don't. So I don't think it's a smart way to run the Congress. You know, everybody in Congress was elected to be there, and we all have equal obligations to our constituents in the country. It's unfortunate that they're managing it in this way.
So you're saying they knew you were coming to El Salvador, and then you get there, and that's when they asked for permits?
Well, they said something about going to get a permit, but obviously, you know, the permit process doesn't make sense for an international delegation. It doesn't make sense. And by the way, when we were standing out there, the people who were waiting to see their loved ones, which is another weird story because a lot of times they don't even know which prison their loved ones are in, and they don't provide things like basic necessities. So these families buy these and take them to the jails, but since they don't know which jail their loved ones are in, sometimes they have to take them to multiple jails at the same time. So, but they told us nobody can get a permit to get in. They're not letting regular people in to see their loved ones either. So, you know, it was a clear runaround and not a way that a foreign government should be treating the Congress of the United States.
Any sense of the people in
We're going to keep monitoring, obviously, the chat that Melanie and other journalists are having right now with Congressman Glenn Ivey. We'll keep running that on our social channels, our digital channels as well, and we'll let you know if we get any more news out of that.
All right. Well